She thought you'd always be there. No matter how long she disappeared. No matter how many texts she left unanswered. She thought you'd wait in silence, like you always did. But something changed. You used to stay up late, hoping for just one message. You used to smile whenever her name popped up on your screen. You were the guy who always stayed, the guy who never gave up. But this time, you didn't say goodbye. You didn't fight. You just vanished. She thought you'd wait forever, but you vanished first. She was so sure, so confident, because every time she left you hanging, you forgave her. Every time she disappeared for days, you welcomed her back like nothing happened. You never held it against her. You made excuses for her. She's probably busy. She'll come back. It's not a big deal. You trained her to believe you'd never leave. Because you never did, you stayed, always, no matter how one-sided it got, and she loved the power. Not because she was cruel, but because she thought she'd never lose you. And honestly, you thought the same. You believed you could take it. You believed waiting was proof of love. But even the strongest hearts get tired. You remember those days, the quiet ones, when you stared at your phone, refreshing old conversations. The silence was louder than any goodbye. You wondered if she was okay, or if she just didn't care. You made up reasons, little stories in your head to protect your heart. She must be tired. Maybe she needs space. Maybe I'm overthinking. But deep down, you knew. She wasn't too busy. She wasn't asleep. She just wasn't thinking about you. But deep down, you knew she wasn't too busy. She wasn't asleep. She just wasn't thinking about you. And yet you stayed. You didn't text first, but you didn't move on either. Your mind kept replaying memories like old songs on repeat. You waited. Because waiting felt safer than accepting the truth. Because holding on felt easier than letting go. There wasn't a big fight, no screaming, no dramatic goodbye. Just a moment, quiet, subtle, but something inside you broke. Maybe it was another unanswered message. Or maybe it was the way your heart sank when she posted online laughing, glowing while your inbox stayed empty. Something inside you whispered, "This isn't love. This is begging." And that whisper, it didn't scream. It didn't rage. It simply woke you up. You didn't announce you were done. You didn't post a quote. You didn't block her. You just slowly stopped checking, stopped waiting, stopped hoping. The silence you once feared became peace. At first, she didn't even realize you were gone. She was used to you being there, used to your name popping up, your little check-ins, your silent loyalty, but slowly, things started to feel different. Your name wasn't on her screen anymore. No messages, no reactions, no late night thinking about you texts. She opened her inbox one night and it was empty. Not just of words, but of presence. It hit her in the smallest ways. The song you used to send her? She heard it somewhere and this time, no message followed. That meme she thought you'd love? She didn't know where to send it anymore. And that's when it started sinking in. You weren't just giving her space. You were gone. And it scared her. Not because she lost someone who chased her, but because she lost someone who genuinely cared. At first, she told herself it was nothing. Maybe you were just busy. Maybe you needed space. It's what she always said to you, right? But this time, your silence wasn't soft. It was cold. Uncheckable. And it made her feel something she hadn't felt in a long time, uncertainty. She checked your profile, nothing new. She looked at your messages, still no reply. She even typed something to send, then deleted it. Twice. For the first time, she wasn't in control. She wasn't the one being waited on. And it hit her. You weren't mad. You weren't playing games. You were just done. That terrified her more than any angry text ever could, because indifference, That's when someone stops loving you out loud. And so she panicked. She started posting more, hoping you'd notice, started replying to old comments. Even liked your last post, something she hadn't done in months, but you didn't react. No likes, no replies, no message, nothing. Because silence wasn't your revenge, it was your healing. She mistook your patience for weakness. She thought your silence meant you didn't have a voice. She thought your love made you fragile. But love never made you weak. Your silence wasn't surrender. It was strength wrapped in calm. Because this time, you weren't trying to prove your worth. You finally remembered it. You didn't need to chase. You didn't need to explain. You just chose peace. And peace, that's not something you ask for. It's something you create when you finally walk away from what no longer respects you. So while she was busy noticing your absence, you were busy rebuilding your presence. Rebuilding the man you had forgotten in the chaos of waiting. You read more. You trained harder. You slept better. You started laughing again, really laughing. And slowly, you stopped checking your phone. Stopped wondering if she'd come back. Stopped needing her to. You didn't heal to get her back. You healed to never need her again. That's when the power shifted. Not because you made her feel small, but because you finally remembered how big your world could be without her. It didn't hit her at first. She thought it was just another one of your silences. Just another phase where you'd eventually come back like always. But this time, you didn't. She texted. And you didn't answer. She watched your stories. And realized none of them were about her anymore. She waited for that old version of you to show up again. But you were gone. Not just physically. You were gone in spirit, in energy, in care. That's when the silence got loud for her. The silence she once controlled. Now haunted her. Suddenly, she remembered all the messages she never replied to. The times you begged for her time. The nights you stayed up, hoping she'd show up. And now, the roles had reversed. Now she was the one refreshing the chat. Now she was the one rewatching old photos. Now she was the one missing you. But the version of you she's missing? He doesn't exist anymore. You outgrew that version. And she only started to want you when she could no longer reach you. She tried. She reached out casually at first. Just a simple, "Hey, how have you been?" Just enough to test the water, to see if you'd still smile when you saw her name. But you didn't. You didn't jump at the message. You didn't reply right away. And for the first time, you didn't feel excited. You felt nothing. Not anger, not hope. Just a strange peace. Because you had finally accepted something she hadn't. That the door was closed, that this wasn't love anymore. It was just a story that ended long ago, and you were just the last one to finish reading it. She thought she could slide back in, the same way she used to, but the lock had changed. The person who used to open it for her doesn't live there anymore. And now she's the one looking in from the outside, wondering how something so certain slipped away so quietly. How the man who used to wait forever learned to walk away without turning back. She didn't expect to lose you, because she never believed you'd ever choose yourself, but you did. And that was the most powerful thing you ever did. Regret is a slow burn. It doesn't hit all at once. It creeps in quiet, soft and heavy. She started to feel it in the silence you left behind, in the way her messages went unanswered, in the way your name no longer lit up with warmth, just distance. She scrolled through old photos, read old messages, and for the first time, she saw what you felt, the weight of waiting, the sting of being forgotten. She remembered how you loved her fully, honestly, without ego, and how she took it for granted. Now she misses the things she once ignored, your voice, your patience, your quiet loyalty. But you're not angry. You're not bitter. You're just gone, because your healing was silent. Your growth was invisible, but your peace? Uncheckable. You didn't win by moving on. You won by becoming someone who no longer needs to chase love that won't stay.